Join us as we plan for February and we set seasonal intentions for a cultivated life. Hello everyone, Jennifer here, and welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. Okay, so we are going to use the planning tips from January and we are going to apply them to February because we are all planning for a year of beauty, a year of elegance, and so we're going to set some seasonal intentions for a cultivated life. And so let's do it because we discussed the tips in January, but I thought we'd put them into action in February. So I hope that you will make yourself a cup of tea. I've really been enjoying green tea and oranges steeping all day long. So I'll have a hot cup for as long as the little flame is burning, and then in the day I'll have a little cold cup of iced tea. It's so good. But that's beside the point. I hope that you pour yourself a cup of tea and get your planner out and we can plan. So I encourage you to do these along with me. So the first thing I discussed was word of the year. So I'd like to ask you, how is your word of the year working for you? Is it resonating? My word of the year was receive, and I've been getting so many downloads on this word in my own life, just about receiving and how I operate so often in the more masculine realm of things, like so productive, to-do lists, and just hyper productivity, that I also need to receive rest and receive beauty, receive intuition, all of those things. So my word of the year is really working out and I'm enjoying it. So I would love to know how your word of the year is resonating so far. The second idea was to plan your days around energy and not time. So I have also been doing this, and I do certain things when my energy is right for it. And then I still need to tweak it a little bit. Like, for example, in the mornings, I've been not only working, but also mixing in heavy housework that I know I won't want to do later on. Having said that, there's a lot of housework that is kind of like mindless for me, and the mental hours for me are very critical when I'm writing, so I need that in the morning. So it's just a balance, but of course this process will be individual for everyone. I just finished reading a book called A Monk's Guide to a Clean House and Mind, which I'll do a video on later, and it's by, and I just want to make sure I get his name right, Shuhei Matsumoto, and it was such a good book. But he was talking about how the monks clean in the morning and they never clean at night. And I thought, wow, that's like planning around, I don't know if it's they're planning around their energy or if that's more tradition, but it's kind of neat to have guidelines like that. Like, we don't do this. Now, I would love to get out of cleaning at night. So I've got to figure out how to make this happen for myself, but that's beside the point. Okay, the third thing that we talked about was creating weekly anchor rituals. And if you see me looking down in this planner, it's because I'm using my day designer planner for my everyday tasks. And then I'm using my planned and proper planner to explore these more year of beauty concepts. Okay, so I'm writing these things down in February. But the weekly anchor rituals, for me, that has been a Sunday reset as far as batch cooking goes, cleaning up goes, and all of that. I'm finding that Sunday is the day to prepare for the week for me. That has been the main weekly anchor ritual. There's a few goals that I want to implement in February, and that would be starting a yoga class. So I would love to get back into yoga again, and so that's something that I'm trying to figure out where I can fit that into my schedule. But I would love to know what your weekly anchor rituals are. All right, so let's write this next one down together. So this idea was to track quality over quantity. So in our planners, we're going to write this down, and I want you to reflect on the past week. So here are the 3 prompts. The first one is, did I live well this week? Did I live well this week? The second prompt is, what felt nourishing? And the third prompt is, what felt rushed or draining? Okay, so if I'm going to take my week as an example, did I live well this week? I would say yes, because one of the main goals that I'm working on is nervous system regulation, and I focused on that 100% this week. And I had actually a pretty stressful week. There were a few stressful things that happened, but I was able to regulate myself through it, and that's good. And another intention that I had this week was to have all of my meals be elegant and peaceful. So sometimes that meant that I was sitting with my family. Sometimes I would have meals alone, like I typically have breakfast alone, but it was always making sure that they were elegant and peaceful and that I wasn't rushed through the meal. One particular highlight I had was having lunch on the porch with my daughter. That was a really nice memory, and that felt really good. And I would say that felt nourishing. Another thing that has felt nourishing for me this week is making green tea with oranges, steeped in oranges like we just did in the video, and that has been so nourishing. And then what felt rushed or draining? Okay, so in my week, what has felt rushed or draining for me has been when I am attempting to do something, but then I get sidetracked, usually by members of the family who ask me to do things for them. And then I go on side quests to do all these things for other people, and then I don't get to the self-care that I was going for. I don't know what the solution to that is necessarily, but that did feel draining and a little bit rushed, and I went to bed stressed and late a lot this week because of this. So, it's good to be honest in these sessions with yourself, because you can just write down the problem without any shame or judgment, and then hopefully focus on not having that problem the next time. All right, so the next one is to have the monthly pages for your seasonal intentions. So for me, we're still in winter, and it is February, although you wouldn't know it here in California because it feels like the spring. It's already hot. But I know that much of the country and the world is still in the coldness of winter in the northern hemisphere. So we're going to talk about the season, the light, the weather, and the rhythms, and how we want our homes, wardrobes, and routines to feel. And this doesn't have to be complicated. This can be a simple sentence. So for example, for January, quiet mornings, wool and cashmere, simple meals, deep focus, right? That's an example of January. So for February, I think for February, I'm going to say regulated days, cups of tea, and time for myself. Those are my goals. So I'm going to write that down. Okay, the next step was to create a not to do list. And these are all the things that are just not working for us. So for example, in my notes, I wrote overscheduling, multitasking, checking emails first thing in the morning, going on my phone first thing in the morning. So these are the matters we're going to lay aside. And to continue adding to that list, I would definitely say I'm going to keep it at overscheduling. I do not want to do that. I don't want to check my phone first thing, which I'm really good about not doing. I don't really do that. And what else do I want to add to this? I would say allowing myself to get worked up in a space of stress. I'm not going to allow myself to get into a big stress ball over things, no matter what happens. That's the goal. Okay, the next one is really fun to write down, and it is to track our inner life. And so we're going to use our planners to note down the books that we're reading, poems, quotes, or ideas that moved you, and creative sparks or observations. So I will tell you right now that I'm currently reading The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's a thriller, and I'm loving it so far. I haven't finished it, so I can't tell you fully what my review is, but that's the book that I'm currently reading. I have a full winter TBR that I'm pretty much almost done with. And I'm working on my spring TBR coming up, so I'll do videos on those, but it's nice to just write down what you're reading and maybe your thoughts on it. Poems, quotes, or ideas that moved you. I'll tell you one thing. I was listening to something earlier today and I heard someone say this, and I wrote it down, and she said, observe, don't absorb. Respond, don't react. And that was really good. That's the type of thing I would write in my commonplace book, but you could also put it in your planner as well. So observe, don't absorb, and respond, don't react. And then as far as creative sparks or inspiration go, for the month of February, I am going to be looking at floral arranging and reading poetry, just observing beauty as a whole. That's going to be something that I'm going to focus on. The number 8 tip was to plan for beauty. And this is literally putting in your planner what you have planned for the upcoming month. So in February, I don't have too many things planned because going back to that other goal of not overscheduling myself, I haven't planned much, but there are 2 things on the calendar that I'm really looking forward to. We are hosting a dinner party this month. And actually, by the time you see this, we will have already hosted it. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And then I'm also planning to see Wuthering Heights with my sister. So those 2 things I'm really looking forward to. And also, I do plan to start taking a yoga class, which will also be really fun to look forward to as well. And of course, lots of time spent with Watson, who is incredibly beautiful. Okay, and then the last one, I think this is my last tip that we were going for. Yes, so we're going to end the week with a gentle review. Okay, so we are going to write 1 thing we're proud of, 1 lesson that we learned, and 1 adjustment for next week. Now, I want you to remember you're not needing to do all of these things. It could feel intimidating. We could do them together here because, you know, we're taking time to do this, but you don't always have to do these things. You could choose 1 thing that resonates with you in this video and incorporate it into your journaling or planning practice. I just wanted to say that because a lot of people don't have time to do all of this, okay? Okay, so we're gonna end each week with a gentle review. Okay, so 1 thing you're proud of. The 1 thing I'm proud of this week is keeping my nervous system regulated through a few very stressful incidents. I'm very proud of that for myself. 1 lesson that I've learned. A lesson that I've learned recently is that when I'm feeling and experiencing a lot of bad, negative energy, I really need to shake it off. Literally, I could jump on the rebounder or sit in prayer and meditation and take time to address those feelings. That's something that a lesson that I really did learn this week, because you can carry it with you all day and think, oh, I'll do that later, but it's kind of good to just address it immediately for me. And then 1 adjustment for next week. An adjustment I'd like to make for next week is I'd like to incorporate deep breathing more. So as I work on regulating myself through a stressful week, I tend to forget about my breathing. So that is 1 adjustment for next week. No shallow breathing. In fact, I could also add that to my not to-do list, shallow breathing. All right, everyone, this was a little bit of a different video, but I know that a lot of you enjoy my planner videos. And so I thought that we'd do a more deep dive into what it would look like to do this type of planning. And this type of planning is really different for me. I usually write down, the hardcore to-do list, all those productivity things that I have to write on my list. But as I'm leaning more toward wanting beauty in my life and a regulated nervous system, that's become way more important to me than checking things off my list. So I hope that you find this useful as well. All right, everyone, thank you for joining me today. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, let me know and maybe we could do them on a seasonal basis. I would love to know your answers to these questions. If you feel like journaling and writing them in the comments, I would love to read them. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.